good to go.
La tecnología, Linux, Unix, Microsoft y más, mucho más, por favor, te animo a que te suscribas al canal. Tu apoyo permite que podamos seguir investigando, recibe y trayendo más información. Bien, por favor, no olvides dejar tu like y compartir este video con otras personas interesadas en todo lo que es el mundo de Linux, la tecnología, inteligencia artificial y mucho más. Por favor, si deseas apoyar el canal de una manera especial, aquí abajo en la descripción de este video, Black 2 y se unen con Wayland y el futuro de nuestro gobierno.
Colgate el Luminous White Color Correct con su tecnología de color violeta. Corrige tonos.
Muy bien, otro de los objetivos es modernizar lo que sería tecnología heredada. Gran parte del sistema Linux está migrando desde X11 hacia Web. Ya lo ha hecho, por ejemplo, GNOME, KDE, XFCE va camino a hecho, Pucci también, y hasta inclusive Cinnamon. Sí, la idea es simplificar componentes antiguos y aprovechar tecnología más moderna. Eso no significa que X11 vaya a desaparecer en lo pronto. Tampoco quiere decir que X11 esté seguro, como se está hablando mucho lugar, pero sí refleja hacia dónde se está moviendo el ecosistema de Linux. Y es aquí donde se presenta otra pregunta importante. ¿Quiere decir esto entonces que los paquetes tradicionales dejarán de existir? En cortas palabras, la respuesta es no. Si tú todavía no sabes que estamos hablando con paquetes tradicionales, estamos hablando, por ejemplo, de DEV, RPM, XBPS,
Lightstick out. Get down! I want to see hands! Dim light over here. No contact.
De hecho, eso ya está ocurriendo. Muchos desarrolladores, por ejemplo, prefieren distribuir la única versión de su programa para toda la distribución. Es una revolución. Para muchos sí, pero no en el sentido en que muchos titulares lo presentan. Y la verdadera revolución ocurrió hace años, cuando nació Flatpak, según amigos. Lo que estamos viendo ahora es una segunda generación, una modernización, no una destrucción del ecosistema Linux. No una guerra contra las soluciones tradicionales y tampoco el fin de los paradigmas. No, eso no se trata de que la filosofía sea algo viejo, anticuado o inclusive poco práctico. Porque es una realidad, la historia de Linux siempre estuvo marcada por cambios. Desde System 5, desde X11 a web. Desde los paquetes tradicionales hacia formatos universales. Y quizá la pregunta más interesante no sea si Flatpak 2 cambiará todo el mundo del ecosistema Linux, porque Linux siempre ha sido cambiando. Tal vez la verdadera pregunta sea si los próximos 10 años del escritorio Linux se parecerá más al pasado o al futuro, que apenas estamos comenzando con.
I'm an OG. You know what it means?
You've seen them. The programmer who reinstalls their operating system for fun on a Friday night. The developer who has an opinion about package managers the way other people have opinions about religion. The person who, the moment you mention Windows, gets a look on their face like you just suggested they go back to using dial-up internet. And you've probably wondered, what actually happens to them? Because it's never just a preference. Linux users don't just use Linux. They believe there's a specific kind of obsession that goes way deeper than this OS works better. And today, we're going to get into exactly why. The real psychology behind it. Because it isn't about which OS is technically superior. It's about why certain programmers are completely, utterly done with Windows. What that says, the moment it starts. It almost never starts as an ideology. It starts as a frustration. You're trying to set up a development environment.
Hands up above your
maybe
head.
it's Python, maybe it's Node, maybe it's something more obscure. You follow a tutorial. You install something. Something breaks. You install a fix. That breaks something else. You spend 3 hours on Stack Overflow, and somewhere in the comments section, someone says, this is much easier on Linux. So you try it. Maybe you dual boot. Maybe you spin up a VM. Maybe a friend.
Down on the ground.
And here's where something strange happens. The first time you open a terminal on Linux and type sudo apt install.
Hands up.
No
Down
restart
on your
required.
knees.
No DLL. Something shifts in your brain. It's a small one, but it's a clean one. You got something done without fighting the machine to do it. And once you feel that, you start noticing every single time Windows makes you fight. The forced update that reboots your computer mid-project. The path where you have to manually the terminal that still somehow
Put your hands up.
This is
Police. Police. Down on the ground. Police. Hands on your drop it and get down.
They lead with specs, with benchmarks, with Linux uses less RAM, Linux is faster, Linux is POSIX compliant, and all of that is true, but that's not why people get success. Technical superiority is just the entry point, the door. What's behind the door is something else entirely. But let's go through the door first, because the technical reasons do matter. When you're programming, you are constantly installing things, configuring things, running scripts, managing dependencies, connecting to servers. Every single one of those tasks is just smoother on Linux.
Hands on your head. Do it now.
On
Get
Windows,
down. I
installing
want
a
to see
entire
hands.
project. On Linux, it's one command. The terminal is
Put your
something you
hands
visit
up.
reluctantly. On Linux, the terminal is where you live, and it's actually designed to be lived in. Bash lets you write loops, use variables, pipe outputs, script entire workflows. The command line isn't a relic, it's a power tool. And then there's the server, which most customers don't think about until it matters. Almost every web server, cloud instance, and production environment in the world runs Linux. When you develop on Linux, your code doesn't just work on your machine. It works the same way it'll work when it ships. That alignment between development and production is not a small thing. Developers who've debugged, but it worked on my machine issues understand this. So yes, for programming specifically, Linux has real concrete advantages. That part is legitimate. That part is not tribal. But the obsession, that's where it gets more interesting. Here's a question worth sitting with. Plenty of people try Linux. Switch to Mac. They don't become obsessed. They just note it as a useful tool and move on. So why do some people, after using Linux for a few months, feel like they can never go back? Why does it stop being an OS choice and start being almost completely? The answer is psychological, and it has 4 layers. The first layer is autonomy. Windows and Mac OS are built on a specific philosophy. We know what you need better than you. Updates happen on their schedule. Features get removed or changed without asking. The interface is opinionated and largely non-negotiable. The system is a product, and you are the consumer. Linux is built on the exact opposite philosophy. You decide everything. Which desktop environment you run.
Hands on your head!
What the terminal looks like. How the window manager behaves. You can modify source code if you hate something enough. For most people, that's overwhelming. But for a certain kind of programmer, someone who got into coding specifically because they want to understand and control systems, that's not overwhelming. That's the whole point. The moment they experience genuine system autonomy, going back to a locked-down OS doesn't just feel inconvenient, it feels like a step backward. Like being handed a toy car after you've driven a real one. The second layer is mastery. Linux has a learning curve. That's not a secret. The first time you misconfigure something and your display server breaks and you're staring at a black screen with a blinking cursor, there's a specific flavor of panic. But when you fix it, when you Google it, find the command, edit the config file, reboot, and everything comes back, something happens. You feel like you actually understand your computer, not just as a user, as someone who knows what's inside it. That feeling compounds every time you write a shell script that automates something tedious. Every time you set up a development environment from scratch in 20 minutes because you've done it enough times to know exactly what you need. Mastery creates attachment. The more you invest in learning a system, the more that system feels like an extension of your thinking. And once Linux starts feeling that way, Windows starts feeling clunky by comparison. Not because it's worse at everything, but because it's a system you never fully understood and were never meant to.
Get down now!
Looks clear over here.
Si abres Cloudcode, escribes una tarea y esperas a que salga algo bueno,
Suspect standing by for
The third layer is community.
transportation.
This one is underrated. The Linux community is one of the most specific subcultures in tech. It has inside jokes,
Secure the
shared
area.
values, heated debates that have been running for decades, and a collective memory going back to the early internet. Distro wars,
Get on the
window
ground
wars,
now!
Vim versus Emacs arguments that everyone participates in and never wins.
LSPD,
There's a sense of
go
belonging
home!
here that's hard to articulate unless
Turn
you've experienced it.
around.
When you say
Stay
use
down and
art,
turn
the other person
around.
knows what that means. There's an
Hands up
instant
now!
shift, a shared
Drop to your
reference.
knees!
Humans are wired to find their tribe. For a certain kind of programmer, the Linux community is that tribe, and leaving the OS would mean leaving the culture, which is a much harder thing to walk away from. than just
Trailers
software.
inbound.
The fourth layer is ideology, and this one cuts deepest. For a lot of Linux users, open source isn't just a software license, it's a value system. The idea that code should be transparent, that users should have agency over their own machines, that technology should be accessible and not held hostage behind paywalls or corporate update policies. These aren't just preferences. For some people, they're convictions. Using Linux becomes a statement. Not always a loud one, but a consistent one. Every day you boot into an open source operating system, you're participating in a project that exists specifically because a group of people believed software should belong to its users. And that's not nothing. That's a philosophy of computing.
Stay
And when
on
you find
me.
a philosophy that
got
resonates, you
point.
don't just use it, you
Put your hands up!
you get a little obsessed.
Hands up,
The
do it
perspective
now!
shift. Here's the thing most people miss when they look at Linux obsession from the outside. They think it's about hating Windows. It's not. It's about what
Down
happens
on
when you
your
discover a
knees.
completely different relationship with your computer, and then realize you can never unsee it. Windows is a product designed to be invisible. You're not supposed to think about it. It handles things for you so you can focus on other things. For most users, that's exactly what they want. But programmers aren't most users. Programmers spend all day thinking about systems, about how things work under the hood,
Start a
about what's
search.
happening at the level that they can see. And for that kind of mind, a system that actively hides its own workings isn't convenient. It's frustrating. Linux doesn't hide anything. It puts everything on the table and says, here's how this works. Do whatever you want with it.
Searching
That
the closet.
transparency is either terrifying or exhilarating, depending on who you are. The people who find it exhilarating, they don't just adopt Linux. They adopt a different set of expectations for their tools, for their systems, for what computing is
Hands
supposed
up!
to feel.
Above your
And
head!
once those expectations are set, a lot of things about Windows that most people never notice suddenly feel like sin.
get 'em ready.
It's not rage. It's just that the old way starts to feel like wearing shoes that are slightly too tight.
Just
You only
release
notice
the
it
rope.
because you know what comfortable feels like now. So what actually makes a Linux-obsessed programmer different? It's not that they're smarter. It's not that they're elitist, though some of them have earned that reputation. It's that they made a choice, early or late in their programming journey, to stop accepting the default, to understand the system instead of just using it, to prioritize control over convenience, transparency over polish, autonomy
Search
over
and
ease.
secure.
And that choice, that one specific decision to go deeper instead of staying comfortable, quietly rewired how they think about every tool they use, every system they touch, every time someone hands them a machine and expects them to just accept it as is. The obsession isn't about Linux. It's about what Linux did to the way they see everything else. And if you've been using it for a while and you know exactly what I mean, well, you probably weren't ever going back anyway.
Next time I'm out, bro.
The Biden administration just really screwed up immigration policy in a profoundly dangerous way. Even if you agree that immigration is a problem, it seems division is the most compelling narrative for politicians.
Are you nervous about being laid off? Well, according to the news, you should be. Unless you're a tradesperson or a healthcare worker, AI is coming for your job.
At least
Search
that's
the
what
room for
CEOs have been
context.
telling us. In the last several months, companies have been shedding white-collar jobs like crazy and attributing it to artificial intelligence.
Right now, it seems concentrated in the tech sector. But if this trend continues, it's only a matter of time until this show is written, hosted, and edited by algorithms.
You know what it means?
Or it is. Are we real? Or the hallucination of an LLM
Get
trained on
down on
hundreds
your
of
knees!
Don't be
Hands
honest.
If that were
up!
the case, it probably would have been my
Turn
WhatsApp.
around
Yeah, I think
slowly.
it's right.
Turn around,
Before
don't
we go
get
full
up.
Black Mirror, it's important to take these CEO's assertions with a big grain of salt. The actual evidence points to a future that is neither as profitable for companies or as frightening for workers as the hype suggests.
In fact, what worries me most is why companies would want to blame AI.
Doc here. Floor one for the good guys. Good work, everyone.
Dejaste botados en el módulo número 3. No te preocupes, probablemente a todos nos ha pasado. Y el problema casi nunca son las...
2025 turned out to be a pretty lousy year for the job market. Every month of job growth came in below the average for the previous year, amounting to a yearly total that was the worst since 2009, not including COVID. And 2026 doesn't look much better, with a lot of high-profile layoffs at big tech companies like Amazon, Salesforce, Pinterest, and Klarna. In February of 2026, the finance tech firm Block announced it would cut half its workforce, and Mark Zuckerberg is reportedly planning to lay off 20% of Meta staff.
Most of these CEOs are telling their shareholders and the public that these workers are no longer needed because of the huge increase in productivity powered by AI. Thanks to ChatGPT and Claude Code, tasks that used to take all day are now finished in a matter of minutes. One employee can do the work of 10.
Christ,
That's a bit of
it's really
exaggeration, but the
kicking
basic story
off
we're
out
hearing
there.
again and again is that across industries, AI is making human workers obsolete.
Except that it's not. While there are some isolated examples of certain
it a
tasks
joint
being streamlined by
venture.
AI,
Really?
like customer service and legal
Just
research,
picking up
on the
even
macro
more
level,
work.
economists have yet to see a
Right.
significant impact.
They
The Penn
barely
Working Budget
help us
estimated a
shit around
0.01%
here.
boost to productivity in 2025 due to AI, and in a survey of over 6,000 senior business executives, 90% reported no impact to productivity or employment. A lot of companies are investing in AI and investing heavily, but very few have implemented it in a way that saves substantial time or money.
One reason for this discrepancy might be an economic theory known as the productivity paradox. In the 1970s and 80s, US companies poured tons of money into information technology. In a very short span of time, computers went from a specialized rarity to a commonplace object in stores, homes, and offices. Typewriters and credit card imprinters were quickly replaced by word processors and point-of-sale terminals. Think of the time saved. And yet, for 25 years, productivity growth actually slowed. How could that be?
Well, according to some economists, just because a new technology is powerful doesn't mean we know how to use it yet. It can take a long time for existing systems to adapt. There's a lot of trial and error and wasted time and money. That may be what's happening with AI today. Think of fast food restaurants that scrapped their AI-based ordering systems, or help centers that had to rehire human operators after customer complaints. According to MIT, 95% of AI pilot programs in the workplace have failed.
This experimental stage may actually be having a negative impact on productivity. Workers report being forced to use AI even when they don't want to. Some studies show that teams using AI take longer to finish tasks, and the quality of the work can suffer, known as work slop, which requires more quality control on the back end.
Take Block, for instance. Although the company heads brag about a 40% increase in
Talk
code
to
collection,
entity.
95% of their errors
Suspects
have
are
been altered and
refusing
code
to negotiate. You are clear to move in.
Essentially, engineers across the tech industry are
Make
spending
them
less time
stable
writing
and
code, but more time
proceed with
fixing
mission.
sloppy AI code. It's fueling feelings of burnout, resentment, and job dissatisfaction.
How does all of this square with what CEOs are doing? To be fair, not all these companies are claiming that AI has already replaced workers. Meta and Pinterest both justified their staff cuts as a way to free up money to invest more heavily in AI. CEO Andy Jassy initially blamed AI for the loss of over 30,000 jobs at Amazon before backpedaling that layoffs were not really AI-driven, not right now at least. One survey found the majority of organizations who cited AI as a reason for cutting staff had done so in anticipation of productivity gains.
The discrepancy between what they're saying and what's really happening could be as simple as that. All these CEOs are so convinced that AI will make human workers obsolete someday that they're just going to go ahead and lay everyone off.
But skeptics argue that there may be another, more urgent incentive for this narrative.
Our economy is in a bit of a bubble, if you haven't noticed. OpenAI's market valuation is greater than Netflix, Chevron, or McDonald's, even though they have yet to figure out how to make it. Investors seem to be much less interested than how they position
Down on the ground! Police, get down! Hands up! Hands up! Drop your knees! Hands up now!
Because you're embracing
Put your hands up!
The former might lower your stock value while the latter might give it a boost.
Turn around and stay still.
The company has been suffering from a declining valuation for several months, but after CEO Jack Dorsey announced his supposed AI-driven layoffs, the stock price fell.
Lights to Doc to Element. Great work. Keep going.
Trump. This president has shown a willingness to use his power to influence companies and CEOs, squeezing money layoffs. Sluggish economy
Doc
could
here.
attract unwanted
Send
attention
him.
from the White House. It's much safer to paint a rosy picture of technological efficiency.
Police, get your hands up! Hands up! Do it now!
This is a normal
Get down on your knees!
Pandemic was a great time for tech companies with all of us stuck indoors on our screens, and they went on a hiring spree. Today, they simply don't do that. And AI makes a great excuse to let them go. Attack some called
Entry
AI.
team, this is Talk.
That isn't to say
Trailers
AI doesn't
incoming.
do jobs.
Proceed with
Now,
caution.
productivity gains are not enough to justify the staggering amount of money being poured into it. And that is perhaps the final, most important incentive of all.
Get
These tech companies
down
have raised hundreds of billions of
now!
dollars on the promise
Get
that
on the
AI will be the most
ground
revolutionary
now!
technology since the combustion engine. According to some estimates, the entire American economy will be propped up by AI-related spending, and the only way to make a return on an investment that huge is if it actually does eliminate millions of jobs.
But about 3 years after the launch of ChatGPT, we're still not seeing it in the numbers.
Hands up, asshole! Now drop it and get down! Hands up! Drop the weapon! Police, don't move! Police, get down! Put your hands up!
Move to the sound of my voice.
Relax, man. We'll
Drop
blast
the
some
weapons!
kippers in my
Put the weapon
pero no
down!
tienes ni idea de programación ni cómo empezar, échale un
Hands up!
vistazo
Above your
a
head!
de hábitos diarios que me ayuda a obtener pequeños objetivos, seguir mi estado de ánimo, reflexionar y ver hasta dónde he
Hands up
llegado.
now!
Funciona
Drop Get down
Solo tienes
now!
que descubrir
Drop it now!
qué quieres lograr, sus funciones,
Start a search.
el estilo y la vibra que deseas que tenga.
Hands on your
Y ahora
head.
mira cómo Base
Hands up,
44
do it now.
hace su magia. Diseña la interfaz,
Down on your
crea la base de
goddamn
datos
knees
y
now.
conecta toda la estructura. Es como pedirle a un
Keep your
equipo de
hands up.
ingenieros, diseñadores, product managers que construyan
Get down on your
tu
knees!
Doc to
Hands
Element.
up!
Trailers
Una vez
incoming.
que tenga la primera versión, podré activar el modo nocturno, suavizar las
Make 'em
transiciones
secure.
y asegurarme que
Hands on your
funcione sin
head
problemas
now.
en cualquier
Put your
dispositivo.
hands
Lo
up!
mejor,
Let me
avanzo
see
sin
those hands!
restricciones, sin bloqueos,
We've got this under
sin
control.
cambiar de herramienta, solo creando. Empieza con una idea. Base
Entry team to talk. We have a civilian in custody and ready for transport.
I'm not saying
Talk
shit.
here.
I ain't doing
Trailers
right.
on the way.
What if I told you that everything you're killing yourself over trying to break into
cybersecurity, every server casing, every hacking tool, every job application trying to find the perfect roadmap is missing the real point.
Notify trailers.
Real
The Meta
spit, man. I
situation
got a
is
drug
actually
problem.
somehow works. For those that don't know anything about Meta, Facebook, or the Instagram situation, let me just give you a quick speed run of its history. Facebook went super hard in VR, then found out, VR is not actually where it's at. It's all about AI, and then decided that it's going to fire roughly 10% of its company, or 8,000 employees, and focus super hard on AI. And a part of that focusing super hard on AI is going to record everybody's desktop and everything you do, and then feed that to the AI. Not only that, it's going to create a new organization, Applied AI.
Hands up above your head!
We're going to help train and make the next generation of AI. Of course, during all this, Zuckerberg on a phone call
Get
called
down, I wanna see hands!
high IQ people in the valley, and then after saying all of that, said that the reason why they're recording your desktop without telling you why is because
Hands on your head! Do it now!
Not strategically in your interest for us to communicate everything like in all the detail that we normally would on this.
But now the internals are coming out. Employees are coming forward.
Get down! I want to see hands!
Facebook. It does not look good. It does not look good at all. In fact, this is somehow the
Get down and keep your hands up!
They just shipped
Get the door and
that's
move
not even
in.
partially in production. The golden age of slop has arrived, and it's happening right now live at Facebook. But the internal
Element
round
talk.
is even worse than this.
Civilians
Man's working at a place where
DOA.
they're like, you ain't got time to set up the CICD pipeline to chase some parsons. That's
Down
not
on your
standing by.
knees! Put your fucking hands up!
Get that out of here. That's not how we order
Please.
coffee. By
Okay,
you want real coffee? You want awesome
Don't
so you
get
never
up.
have to remember again? Oh, you want
Stay
exclusive
here.
friends with
Do
exclusive
not
coffee
get in
and
our way.
exclusive content? Then check out Cron. You don't know what SSH is?
Asshole shit gets me a couple of days ago.
One civilian detained.
Talk to lead. Great work, entry team. Keep it up.
Okay, so welcome back. Let's talk about this. We're going to look at this by looking at what the employees are saying. I am going to both laugh at the situation and make fun of an employee or two for this because they describe things rather ridiculously. But then we're going to look at how the company is talking about it, how the management is talking about it, which is also somehow super ridiculous. It is even more nuts than how the employees look at it. Now, a lot of this information comes from the Wired article. You got to go check it out. It's linked in the description. But it starts off with the title of "Tell him he's a piece of shit." Meta's new president is a total mess. Yes, it is absolutely a total mess. That little quote, that little line comes from actually a live town hall in which thousands of
Police, down to the ground!
video call with some presenters going over some sort of information. Someone just joins, flips on a mic, goes
Get
on mic,
down!
just lets out a 4-letter rant
Turn
for
around.
pages, finishing up with, hey, you know the Meta AI executives? Yo, go tell him he's a piece of shit. Imagine being in that call because the presenters,
Why are
one
you
presenter
arresting
covered their faces
me?
with their hands. According to
Entry team
of course, I know why they were covering
We
their
have a
faces.
civilian in
You can't be
custody.
showing all the people that
Entry team,
you're
this is
AI
Todd.
rant smashing your
Excellent
presenters.
work.
It's gonna cover
Don't
their
stop
faces.
now.
So what's happening is since April, a new org has been formed in which about 6,500 employees have joined. Now they have joined in waves that's described as this. The organization has grown in batches since early April. It's crazy to watch people
Down on the ground!
before each
Move!
wave comes in. So this organization is not necessarily known for being fantastic. So what's actually happening
Stay
is that
on
they're
me.
taking all of their
Got your
talented
back.
engineers, right? These really top talented, the best, the most intelligent engineers that are possible at Facebook, and they're assembling them into this team. And they're given about 2 tasks per week to finish. And these tasks, they involve generating complex software coding problems to help AI scientists better train and evaluate the performance of the latest frontier models.
Police,
They're not
get down!
solving or building anything real. They're working with toy examples, toy coding problems. Like using their collective power.
Get on the ground
Ideal
now!
Coding examples to train the AI. Get down and put your hands up! Whatever goes on for 30 minutes before you know laptop, but I can hear it at 1 no. They're just asking They have thousands of people handcrafting, curated beautiful coding tools.
Might want to change your career.
Like they are literally
hey, I know.
and making it
How about a
explicit. They're
handcuff
trying
tomorrow?
to figure out a way to replace
Element contact.
They're actually trying. They're darn good. But how do the
Lead,
engineers feel?
this is
If the
Talk.
engineer selected for the union,
Notifying
no choice,
trailers.
or leave the company. That's right. So if you were an engineer and you were working on, say, some social media feature for millions of users of WhatsApp, Instagram, or Facebook, they say, hey, by the way, you're in on the new program. And if you say, I don't want to be in on the new program, they're like, all right, then leave the company, idiot. An unusual requirement for highly valued technical employees in Silicon Valley that's led some members of the Applied AI to describe themselves as draftees. Yes, the employees
This is
are
Talk.
actually
Nicely done, entry team. Roll in.
I actually can't even say that with a straight face. It's so ridiculous. Like they're actually being forced into this thing or being fired, and they're calling themselves draftees. It is.
La asignación o actualización de beneficiarios de tu pensión es un trámite rápido.
This video is not a review. Treat it as more of a highlight of features you're going to be seeing in Plasma 6.7. Maybe sometime down the line I'll do a separate video that is a proper review, but that is for later. So let's get out of the way. This is the one time I'm going to mention it. Here is your new default wallpaper. This is the dark variant, and honestly, I do like the default KD wallpapers. I actually think they look pretty good. This one is no exception. And here is the light variant. I don't know which one I prefer. I don't know. I think they both look pretty good. Either way, here you go. Now let's move on to important things. By far, the most important thing for me, and the reason why I stopped using KD Plasma, was the way that virtual desktops worked. Plasma did not have virtual desktops. It had virtual workspaces where, if you changed the desktop on one monitor, all of your monitors change together. This is still the default setting, but there is now this option here in virtual desktops. Switch desktops independently for each screen. Enabling this feature, now it's going to work like Neri, like Hyperland, like i3, like every sensible window manager out there. And finally, using this environment is not going to annoy me. Also, if you like Cronkite, the tiling window manager plugin, or Carousel, the scrolling plugin, both of these are going to make way more sense now and feel like you're actually using a tiling window manager or a scrolling window manager. And this is honestly the main reason I have been considering going back to Plasma, but this is by no means the only things that are changing. Plasma added the ability to pre-authorize an application when you want to do remote desktop. This is a nice change. It means you don't actually have to be at the desktop when you want to enable a remote desktop. However, what they've also done now is added a notification when that is being done. So now, if you actually go and use the application, you know that something is happening. Also, do you remember during the final part of the OTT Linux challenge where Elijah complained about if you type in sleep and then press enter, it just puts the system to sleep, which logically would make sense to me, but turns out somebody else was annoyed by this, and about a month ago, actually did go and fix this. So if Elijah happened to have been on the latest version of Plasma, this actually would never have happened as a problem. Another dumb little UX oversight is now fixed. So if we go and let's say open up KWrite, for example, and then I was to go and write something in here, let's say like this, and then we go and copy that, let's write some more and write this, and then copy this right here. Now in our clipboard, we're going to have some entries. Okay, so let's say I want to go and let's say this one here is important. If we now go and clear the clipboard, it will empty the clipboard. Okay. But it doesn't empty what was starred. Previously, it would also ask if you wanted to delete the things that were starred. This was stupid, so now it doesn't. It just deletes everything that's not starred, and it keeps the starred things. ICC profiles can now be used when HDR is enabled. Now, I know this is like niche of a niche. This is color correction stuff with HDR, but if you happen to need that, now it works. There are a few applications that make use of the background apps portal. This is basically a portal for keeping track of applications that are running in the background, primarily being used by GNOME applications. These applications will now appear in your KDE sys tray alongside Discord, OBS, and any other things that logically make sense to have a system icon.
This is Todd. Suspects are refusing to negotiate. You are clear to move in.
And probably forever, only going to be a very small handful of applications and effects like media players, things like that, but for those who need it, they now have it. Now, a real big change for people to when you zoomed in a lot on KDE, it got pretty different. There wasn't any sort of attempt to improve the image quality of the zoom. Now, though, if you don't zoom in a ton, we get to around this point here, you might start noticing it. There is an extreme it doesn't look great.
Get down, I want to see hands! Hands on your head, do it now!
Much better than a hyper-pixelized bit of text at this point. This is
Let me see those hands.
way easier to see.
Hands
Obviously,
up now.
we're not zooming in this
Drop to
much,
your
but
knees.
for people that need it, this is so much better. This was made by a dedicated, successfully dev KDE. This is something he specifically needed himself, and frankly, this seems like a big improvement to me. One thing you might recall in KDE is the legacy X11 app support. This is how you go and let X11 apps that are running through Xwayland access your keyboard, do global shortcuts, things of that nature.
Hands up,
They
do
now
it
added
now.
a new setting in here.
Police,
control
get
of
your
the
hands
keyboard.
up.
Now, if an application like, say, XDO2, and I want to go and control
Get on
the
the
keyboard
ground
now,
now.
it can ask and also, if you want to deny permission to it, you can do that.
Down on the ground,
Permission button, you don't deal with it. So you can just say, allow everything without asking permission and treat it just like Xlib, basically giving you more control over how you want your Xlib application to actually function. If you don't have an internet connection, you go and open Discover, now it gives you a far better warning about the problem. Now just saying, hey, you don't have an internet connection, connect to a network of things. You may
Send them our way.
XDG default directory that being projects that can now be configured in KDE under the location section right here. Inside of our application menu here, if we search for some sort of action, say for example, screen to find start and stop screen recording with Spectrum. This can now be marked as a favorite if you want to use it on a frequent basis. This can then be found in the same place as all of the other applications you have favorited right here. Alongside Firefox, we have start and stop recording, and it works like the rest would. Above has now been fixed, so you can drag windows off your screen and lose them basically forever. That is now done, and hopefully, you shouldn't be able to do it anymore. Until someone finds another workaround. If you make use of a virtual keyboard, you can now configure what will actually trigger your right now to set to never, but you can set to with touch and tablet, or with touch and tablet and mouse. So if you set to that one, then your mouse is going to be able to enable as well. There's not many cases where you might want to do that, but it is there. On the top of the keyboard, if you have it set, you don't have to have it set to show it, but you have it set to be enabled. And then we go into an application like say Keyboard. Now we can go and create alternate characters. Now we can see the different forms. I can either go and click these, or I can press the number associated with this. Let's say I want the third form.